So I was inspired to give this Ignite talk in order to get more people thinking about diversity and inclusion, to get the conversation started. So if you only walk away with one thing after this presentation, it should be to start this conversation with someone else. So when we talk about diversity and inclusion, we must consider the big 8 classifications or diversifiers: race, class, gender, sexual orientation, religion, age, nationality, and ableness, all important and interrelated dimensions of human identity. I once heard a phrase at an event about diversity that has since remained in my mind. Diversity is being invited to the party, inclusion is being asked to dance. I later learned that this phrase originated from Verna Myers, a cultural innovator and activist. So let's break this up. Diversity is being invited to the party. Everyone's invited, right? What this means to me is, how do you get more diverse candidates interested in your company? How do you get them into the door? Inclusion is being asked to dance. Once you've gotten these more diverse candidates through the door, how do you keep them? How do you make them want to stay? So what this means to me is, improving diversity gets you part of the way there, and inclusion is the next step. Inviting to the party starts with recruitment. Target historically diverse groups, such as historically black colleges or universities, all women's colleges, or diverse meetups, such as Women Who Code, the Latino tech community, or Lesbians Who Tech. The next step is the interview. Try to use diverse interviewers. Have at least 2 interviewers in the room. You must also check your internal biases. Do you instantly like someone? Why do you think that is? If you have 2 completely equal candidates, pick the more diverse candidate. You can also set target goals within your company or organization. For example, 50% women by 2019 or 30% minorities by the next quarter. It's important to remember that you're not to compromise quality, but to meet your diversity goals, you're just following some best practices. So you've gotten more diverse candidates through the door. How do you keep them? How do you ask them to dance? It starts by having a more inviting atmosphere and culture for these diverse candidates. This means not just having nerd culture items around the company or office, but things that appeal to everyone. You can also create a leadership track, so that there's a clear profession for one forward in one's career. You can also institute mentorship programs, making it a part of the program. You can also provide sponsorship at the executive level. You can institute employee resource groups, such as after-school clubs, as I like to say. We utilize various Slack channels at Blackstone technology groups, such as Women of BTG and other groups of similar interests. We even have a Slack channel for people who like cute puppy pictures. Now for some common do's and don'ts. If you make a mistake and you offend someone, apologize and ask how you can avoid this mistake in the future. Do use the same level of respect and formality for everyone, no matter their race, gender, status, position, etc. Do recognize the cultural differences exist, but confirm these differences before you act on one. Do treat every person as an individual. Just because one member of a group acts a certain way or likes a certain thing, doesn't remember that all members of that group like or act the same thing, like the same way. Don't dismiss ideas. This can make new ideas unwelcomed and can make people feel unwanted or unneeded. Don't assume a person is an expert about his or her group. For example, don't ask someone, "What do your people think about this?" Don't ask inappropriate questions or engage in inappropriate behaviors. For example, don't ask someone if you can touch their hair. Don't make assumptions about people, particularly those who are culturally different from you. Don't assume certain people have certain values or like to do certain things. So I'm sure you're thinking, this is great and all, but why should I care? Why does improving diversity matter? Well, for one thing, as a more diverse company, you'll be able to reach out to, build innovative features for, and encourage the inclusion of these underrepresented communities. In addition, female representation in executive management leads to a $42 million increase in firm value, yet only 20% of board seats of the Fortune 500 companies last year were made up of women, and only 4% of those seats were made up of minority women. With every 10% increase of diversity on the senior executive team, earnings rise 0.8%. So if your earnings were $1 million in year 1 with 0% diversity, your earnings would rise to $1,080,000 in year 2 with just the 10% increase in diversity. Companies in the top quartile for racial and ethnic diversity are 35% more likely to have financial returns above their industry medians. More diverse leadership and employees make for more diverse decision-making. So if you are interested in learning more about diversity and inclusion, I recommend that you look into Verna Myers and some of her keynote speeches. So let's all do our part to make sure that we're not only inviting everyone to the party, but also asking them to dance.